Okay, so Bitcoin, everyone's heard of it, right? Up, down makes you kind of seasick watching it.
Yeah, it's a wild ride for sure.
But today we're not talking about just the normal craziness of Bitcoin. We're
Mm.
going deep on something really interesting, a link between the 2016 election and Bitcoin's price.
It's fascinating how global events can really mess with the markets, and Bitcoin's no exception.
So let's set the scene. It's November 2016. Trump wins the election. Surprise, surprise, everyone's freaking out. The markets are like a roller coaster on overdrive. What happens?
Yeah, total chaos, remember?
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going to happen next?
And Bitcoin. Well,
Yeah.
Bitcoin decides to throw its own little party, jumps up by like 15%,
Yeah.
and it's just a week after the election.
Way more than your typical safe haven stuff like gold.
Exactly. So what gives? Why is Bitcoin celebrating when everyone else is panicking?
I think it kind of goes back to this idea of Bitcoin as digital gold.
Digital gold.
Yeah, whenever things get crazy in the world, politically, economically, whatever, people want something safe, something reliable.
Ah, I see, like gold.
Yeah,
It's always been there. It's always going to be valuable.
exactly. And Bitcoin, with its limited supply and decentralized nature, it's starting to look like a pretty good alternative.
Like a safe haven in the digital world makes sense?
And don't forget, back in 2016, there were whispers about the US dollar potentially weakening.
Right.
So people were looking for a way out.
Makes sense.
Bitcoin's like, hey, I'm right here. No government control, no central banks, just pure digital value.
And then you've got these big institutions like MicroStrategy
Yeah.
jumping in, buying up tons of Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, and BlackRock, remember, they filed for a Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
It was huge, these big financial players getting involved. It's like a seal of approval for crypto.
It's like saying, hey, this Bitcoin thing, it's legit.
Right, and that brings in even more investors, drives up demand.
So a snowball effect.
Pretty much.
So what about the future? What are the experts saying about Bitcoin? Is this digital gold rush going to keep going?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but some analysts are pretty bullish on Bitcoin. Yeah, they think it's only going up from here.
Okay.
They point to things like more people using it, growing awareness, the potential for it to become like a real everyday payment method.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Paying for your coffee with Bitcoin.
Totally. But of course, with crypto, there's always that little voice in the back of your head saying,
What goes up must come down.
yeah, that's the thing about crypto. It's volatile. It can change on a dime.
No guarantees.
Exactly.
And let's not forget about regulations. Governments are still trying to figure out what to do with this whole crypto thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
The EU's MiCA framework,
Mm-hmm.
the US SEC's stance on Bitcoin ETFs, it's a whole other layer of complexity.
Definitely.
It's like the Wild West out there in the crypto world.
It is exciting, though, right? So much potential.
So do you think these political events, policies, they'll keep shaping the future of crypto?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but one thing's clear. Governments, central banks, they're all watching very closely.
They're not ignoring it anymore.
Nope. They can't. And their decisions are definitely going to play a role in how this whole thing unfolds.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Bitcoin's wild ride after the 2016 election, expert opinions, the volatility, the regulations.
That's a whole world.
It really is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the crazy world of Bitcoin and global events.
Yeah, it's been fun exploring this with you.
Now, here's a thought for all you listeners out there. If we can understand how these events impact Bitcoin, could we predict future trends?
Interesting.
Just something to think about as you navigate this exciting, unpredictable world of cryptocurrency.
Food for thought for sure.